Hey, it's your girl RD Anderson Bailey, and I'm coming to you with another Sunday Soul Session. Listen, this week I am so excited to have with me Pastor Joe Henderson and his beautiful wife, Lady Kia Henderson. This segment is something to be reckoned with. I had to break this interview down, so there is a part one and there is a part two. Look for that next week. This week, though, we're going to be digging into what it means to be leaders. They gave an authentic look, an inside look at what their journey has been, and they let us know it's okay to be human. So, pull up a seat, pop in some earbuds, and let's get it in.
It's time for Sunday Soul Sessions. Sunday Soul Sessions. Sunday Soul Sessions. It's time for Sunday Soul Sessions. Sunday Soul Sessions. Let's talk. Yeah. Let's talk.
Tell me a little bit about yourselves. I know that you are pastor and first lady, so tell me a little bit about yourselves. You can do it from a spiritual standpoint or a natural standpoint.
Let's see. Been in church all my wee little life. I've only had 3 church homes.
That's impressive these days.
Humble Park Baptist Church, New Mount Area Temple of Prayer, and now God's Temple of Grace.
You were Baptist.
Yep.
I never knew that about you.
Yep. Reverend John T. Hilliard, Humboldt and Woodlawn.
Okay.
790 Humboldt. Let's see. Love working. Love people. Try to be a people person to the best of my ability. I love learning. I love sharing. Love giving. I am what I am. Sometimes people mistake my meekness for weakness. I know that's a common thing, and sometimes people mistake my quietness for lack of intelligence.
How long have you been pastoring?
Officially 2.5 years. Basically, first Sunday in 2021, my bishop, let me back up. October of 2020, my pastor, my bishop, he started covering the church of a pastor that recently deceased at the pastor's request.
I see.
And then as he was trying to fact find and see, what the moving pieces were for the church, Saturday before the first Sunday in 2021, I get a phone call at 7:07 p.m. Informing me that he was going to appoint me as the interim pastor over the church the very next day.
Wow.
And so from January 2021 to October of 2021, I was the interim, and on October 10th, I was officially installed as the pastor of God's Temple of Grace.
Wow. That sounds like a lot, and because I know your bishop, that tracks. So, okay. Let me ask this. Did you all see yourselves becoming a pastor or first lady at any point in your lives, or were y'all really just thrust into this?
I ain't gonna talk for him. I didn't marry a pastor. I was supposed to be a lifetime member at the New Mount Area Baptist Church when I was called the top.
Okay.
That's what I was supposed to be. A lifetime member. Being a first lady is not on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like attention. I don't want to be in the forefront. I'm a background person. I don't want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is new and very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Even though still almost 3 years in, that's still
a thing.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing. I get that. Are you all similar in that way? Like you like to be behind the scenes? I know you said that, but like that kind of, I kind of feel like y'all have that in common.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I am that way intrinsically. Just I don't. If you shine a light on me, well, fine. But do I prefer it? No. I like background. I like the nuts and bolts of things. I like the internal workings of things. Mm-hmm. If my name never gets mentioned, I'm fine with that. And part of that is it just accompanies just even serving my bishop as an adjutant. Just he looks good. That's great. Whatever it is. Most of the stuff that I did actually before I started serving as pastor, it was behind the scenes. It just happens to be up front when it comes time to minister or whatever the case may be. But the larger portion of the things I did serving were behind the scenes. You knew what I did, but you didn't really fully know what I did until something wasn't done. So.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you all been married?
27 years. It'll be 28 this year. I know.
He stayed out of trouble with that one. He stayed out of trouble. He said, I'm not even going to try that one.
It was funny. She said that because a few days ago, I don't know, we were talking about something, and I said, how long we've been married? And she had to think about it. Like, when did we get married again?
She saved herself today.
Right. You can't pop that question. It's been so many years. I kind of stopped counting, basically.
Yeah, I would say all of them. I like I've been married all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
At a certain point. Yeah. It reminds me of my grandfather. His anniversary was what's today?
The 19th.
So yesterday?
Oh.
No.
Yesterday was the 19th. That is the 20th.
Today's the 19th.
Yesterday was the 18th.
Today's the 19th?
Yes, today's the 19th.
Oh, today's my parents' anniversary.
We're gonna have to call them when we get out.
I called my grandfather the other day and texted my grandmother and said, "Hey, happy anniversary." Neither one of them remembered it was their anniversary.
Oh.
When you're that old, it don't matter.
Right.
We still together. So, yeah, I get it. Okay, so let me ask this question. Just as you're kind of new, I'm going to say new, because new-ish, to being leaders of a church, my biggest question here is, how has it affected or impacted marriage? Isn't it any different?
I'm gonna say no. It's not any different, except for he down at the church all doggone day on Thursday and Friday or Saturday. But other than that, because he was already in ministry at the temple, it's just like that role from serving bishop, it just transitioned to him being the leader of a flock. To me, it was like a smooth transition, although he is down at the church more, but that's kind of be expected. But I really didn't see a big change.
Okay.
On my end, anyways.
Okay.
My end, I look at my bishop as the blueprint for this transition, and there were some things that I was privy to, that I saw, that I learned from, that I gleaned from, and certain things that he said to me in almost 30 years of serving at the temple. Some things that are actually coming to fruition now, and I'm walking in and I'm like, man, I remember he said this 20 years ago. I remember he said this 25 years ago. And some of the things that I'm experiencing. So I'm praying more, obviously reading and studying more, looking at just day-to-day things more from a spiritual lens and a little more in depth, learning what I'm learning about what I'm called to do, learning about what God has given me the grace to do. Appreciative, grateful, thankful. My prayers, more so now, are filled more with more thankfulness and thanksgiving than there are honestly requests. I literally spend 90% of the time just thanking him more during my prayer time than anything else. So just I'm noticing some changes. Obviously, in my prayer life, as mentioned, as my revelation and inspiration and illumination of the word is all forever evolving. Some of my pet scriptures, I'm seeing different things in them and gleaning things from them, even 20, 30 years down the road. And it's literally, there's a saying that says the Lord has my nose open. I'll just say it like that. He's got my nose open.
Yeah.
It's intriguing, and I'm impressed by God.
Yeah. He's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He can do what we can't. So just in the same guise of marriage and family relationship, I do want to talk a little bit about mental health, and I'm just kind of prepping you here. I don't expect for you all to be experts or anything like that. It's just an open conversation about it. So, because you all have been married for some time, do you all give any type of advice or any type of, I'll say, counsel to other couples?
Me, no. I don't feel that's my lane.
That's fair.
Of course, he called me beside him to be a helpmeet, but they're not my sheep, or I'm not the shepherd. If someone would ask me something, and if I feel that the Lord is giving me something to say, I will say something, but I'm not just going to say something just because, I'm the first lady, let me say something. If God tells me to say it, I'm not going to say it. I'll make you a craft, but I'm not finna say nothing unless I know that he is actually saying something, because I don't want to mess nobody up. My own sins can get me in trouble. I'm not trying to do anything to that. So no, I don't.
I feel that. I feel that on such a deep level. That's gonna hit on one of my other questions in a minute, but I'm gonna still go here now. One of the things that I'm privy to sitting in this room is Christians who come and tell me horror stories about their experiences in the church, and how, I'll say, leadership have kind of misled them or misguided them. They've, to your point, been in a role that they're not supposed to be in. And they, instead of saying, hey, not my lane, they're like, you should do this. And it's like, oh God, please don't. And then they come see me and they're like, wow, that's not.
Right.
So I can appreciate that on a really deep level. Just as transparent as you want to be, and I appreciate that. So I know you sit in the pastorate, so I know people bring you stuff. Your experience may be different. So talk to me a little bit about that when it comes to advisement or counsel.
It's honestly just I'm learning even more so being discerning, because yes, underneath a lot of the things that take place, there is a spirit attached to it. But similar to what my wife said, I'm more sensitive now than I have been in times past regarding, okay, I know I can only go so far. I'm not equipped or educated or certified to address these mental concerns. But the wisdom is, I know that there was let me back up. I'm very quick to say, listen, I'll help you in this lane, but I think you need to go and talk to someone who's equipped to help you through these, because what I'm sensing is that some of your decisions, not going to say decisions, but some of your patterns, you may need to talk this out with someone. You may need to help you organize the thoughts of your mind, and they can better equip you for what's coming down the road for you. And what I'm recognizing in this short little walk in the pastorate, I do recognize and identify that there are more mental concerns than there were just even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, some are attached to some level of trauma, and I do recognize that. Some traumas I'm familiar with, and I'll say the spirits that are attached to them. I can speak to them, but it can only go so far. I know my limitations. I'm not a clinician, but thank God for the Holy Ghost and the wisdom of the Holy Ghost, the voice of the Holy Ghost, and the sensitivities of the Holy Ghost to help navigate through those things. And just truth be told, sometimes people will, if they're wrestling with something mentally or whatever the case may be, sometimes things, wires get crossed. And in the chances of being misunderstood or increase. And so the offense it increases based upon that misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes with it.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of those times where I'm really grateful that I have a newer pastor that I'm talking to. Because this be a little rough at first. I notice a trend, even in the church, with a lot of couples that are like, I'll say millennial couples. Let me just be specific. Millennial couples are like, I don't know if I really want to do church or at least be at the same church with my spouse. That sort of thing is coming up. I see, especially being in here, a lot of times that is a source of contention. Like, where do we worship? Do we believe in the same thing? Are we navigating spirituality together? So I want to ask a little bit about your thoughts on maybe some trends that you've seen, not just in the church that you pastor, but period in the Christendom. Like, what is it that you're seeing for families or marriages?
To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
See, me, and he don't like it. I tend to stick to myself. I mean, he says he's observant. I like to look. I'm the one who is, okay, let me just sit back and I'm gonna look. Before I speak on something, I gotta turn it around in my head a long time. Yeah. I think I'm an overthinker. I know I am.
Okay.
So I will speak to people, I will greet people, but to get into, I want to say maybe, not I want to say maybe it's a relationship, trying to build a relationship with people. I'm kind of at arm's length because you don't know people's intentions.
Yeah.
And when I get attached, I get attached. So it's like, I need to see where you're coming from. Because when we first got to the church, oh, I got your back. You need this. I'm here. Yeah. And I don't see half of them people today. Right. So it's just like, right. I'm going to speak to the people. I'm going to be nice. Man, your birthday coming up. What can I get you? I'm that type of person. But to go into a deeper relationship, I'm still at arm's length with people because I don't really know their intentions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But him, he's on the other hand, he gives everybody for the benefit of the doubt. On me, on the other hand, is you got me once. We're not going back there. So I'm very guarded. Yeah. So
now, okay, I'm gonna double down and ask another question because you led somewhere there. All right. Is that from you being a church kid, or is that from you being a first lady?
I don't even think it's. I don't know. I mean, I was a church kid all my life. I mean, we went from Baptist to Lutheran.
Both of y'all was Baptist?
Back to Baptist. Okay. And then when Mount Ararat turned over to non-denominational, and then now here. So I've only been in 4 churches my life. So, okay. But I've still been in church all my life. And I was open and free in my younger days. But as you get older, and as a woman, you can attest, women don't know how to treat each other right.
And
it's just like it's vicious. So it's like if I try to fit in and then you punch me in the gut, I'm not coming back for more. I don't care who you are. I'm not coming back. I ain't gonna try it again. Don't look my direction because it ain't happening. Because of course you're trying to protect yourself from the hurt that you got before. So it's just a matter of fact that I told my husband I ain't saved, because he's saved, and he's still working. I got a little Peter in me. I be ready to fight. He don't be.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to, watch it, because I'm really not really concerned about me. It's my concern for him, because I be ready to fight somebody.
They did what?
The only person that can say something or do something to him is me. If you going out now, I want to come from you. So I just watch, because I want to have his back when I can.
Yeah.
Or if he might not see something, but I might see it. So I'm just trying to be observant.
Yeah.
And just say hi to the people, be nice. That's what my bishop told me, be nice to the people. I'm being nice to the people, but I'm so watching and being in the background and no one's seeing me. That's where my comfort zone is. And he's always saying you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I ain't there yet.
Yeah,
I still just want to be where I am.
Yeah.
I'm in the building. Let me be. So
you do first lady different.
I do. I don't sit in the front row. Yeah. I just want to. Excuse me.
Second row.
I sit in the third row.
Sit in the third row.
Oh,
I sit in the third row.
You're right. It's
the third row. And it's
in essence, it's the first row. But anyway, we'll get to that.
So yeah, I'm very different. I am who I am, and I'm not going to try to conform to what other people think I should be.
I like that.
Even though I'm still trying to find my way in the role.
Yeah.
I don't want to be another first lady. I will. This first lady doing this. Well, that's not me. I don't. Why you ain't singing? The Lord ain't called me to sing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna get up in the mic and kill y'all eardrums just because I think I can sing. It's not my role. So sense. It's like I'm just in the background being observant and I'm watching. Yeah. That's my role for now.
I get that. And authentically, if you push outside of that before you're even ready to do it, it ain't gonna go well. There you go. So that's good. I think that just being able to hear you say that, like, that grounds, I think, a lot of people that you're just a real person. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not trying to put on, so to speak. No. I feel that. So as it comes to the relational aspect, you talked about building, like, kind of how you're building relationship with God's people, and like being like a little bit more standoffish. I'm an introvert.
Oh, so. Me too.
Definitely understand you there. Being pushed into the forefront is one of the things that come with the territory, but it's not something that's like, hey, I want to give me a mic. No, thank you. No, thank you. So I feel you. I understand. Okay, so as I asked that question about how relationships, how you view relationships in the church and what it looks like. What does it look like for you? She told me what it looks like for her. What does it look like for you?
Unique. Interesting.
You're dealing with more personalities than you've ever dealt with before.
No, well, for right now, because numerically, it is, it's not a large group yet. Mm-hmm. But this is my first pastor, but it's not my first time in leadership.
Right, that's true.
So as just being in leadership, I've been in some leadership role since I was 12. Running McDonald's, it's 50 employees at any given point in time. And at one point in time, I was covering 2 stores.
Okay.
So roughly around 100. Mm-hmm. But pastoring obviously is unique. It's unique in itself. It's still leadership, but it is unique in itself.
Yeah.
My bishop said something to me. I heard him say it, but then when he said it to me, walking in the role of pastor, he said, "You lead from the front, you shepherd from the back."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning to do my best to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
But not stay where they are and encourage them to come up. And with some of the things that you were just, I think the last question, I was twirling some things in my head, just listening to some of the, millennial couples and things, married and unmarried. There is two things. There is a spirituality portion of it, and I'm not just talking about Christianity. I'm talking about spirituality. I'm not necessarily right. I'm not necessarily a believer, but I'm more spiritual.
We don't know what that means. I'm a whole therapist, and I still don't know what that means. And they say it in here, and I'm like, okay, all right. Which spirit are you following? Right. Is my question.
Right, and because they look at just not just Christianity, but just religion, quote unquote, as that, just a religion, not a relationship with God Almighty.
Right.
And that's what, I'm a firm believer, and I stand on this, that God, that's one of the reasons that God created mankind, for genuine relationship with him. Not because he was lonely, not because he didn't have anything else to do, but it's relationship. And that relationship, in essence, it evolves and it matures, it grows as well as it should. He's fully mature, but for us, he's always encouraging us to come aboard. So just, trying to navigate the some of these, millennial relationships as it relates to their, religious belief, because directly attached to it, just at least my short experience with this portion of it. You say I'm more of a spiritual, but then here comes an unhealthy attachment to the prophetic word. So in some cases, the prophetic word is what people ride on, but it doesn't absolve you of actually doing the work. You have to, okay, you're going to be a millionaire. Okay.
You got to go do something.
You have to do something.
Money falling out the sky.
Right. And to that point, even if God does, shower down a blessing, and you got $100 million. What you gonna do? Because you're gonna lose it all if you don't. Right. So you have to do something with it, and some of the challenges, the different influences. We're just sharing this with someone last week. Pastoring now is different than it was 5 and 10 years ago, because now with social media and things like that, there's so many different influences. There's some good stuff out there, but then there's also some not so good stuff and some unhealthy stuff. And they, and one of the subtleties of the enemy is he'll mix a little bit of truth with a lie, but so that automatically makes it a lie.
Sensationalism.
Sensationalism. The boom bang wow, confetti and lightning bolts.
Yeah.
And and that is that when that's promoted, that's what you gravitate. That's what sometimes people gravitate to more than anything else. There's, in my opinion, my humble opinion, there is no one person outside of Jesus Christ that has the market corner on anything.
Right. That's true.
And I'm also a firm believer that there, perspectives are important. Yeah. But those aren't necessarily the foundational piece. I know some great men and women of God, and they have poured into me greatly. And there's some things that have been shared with me over the years. I haven't necessarily come around to embracing, but I'm not rejecting them, but I'm
right.
Just weighing them out.
It doesn't fit yet.
Right. It doesn't fit yet, but I'm not, it helps, but when it comes down, when it comes down to these up and coming relationships, knowing, are we serving the same God?
That part.
That's important.
Yeah.
A good person with a alternative thought about God, but it's positive.
Yeah.
It can be dangerous.
Yeah.
It can be dangerous.
For sure. It's a morphism of, I don't have to have a relationship with God, but if I say that I'm spiritual and you don't know what that is, and I don't have to define it, you will assume that I'm talking about whatever you're talking about.
Yeah.
You'll assume that I believe in whatever you believe, but I haven't said that. I haven't identified it. And a lot of times, what I see or what I've seen over time is, they might start out specifically going to church, right? It doesn't matter what church, what denomination, but they'll start out going to church. And then one will say, I don't know if I really want to do the church thing anymore. And they'll leave. No conversation, no nothing, just, I'm done with it. And it's like, wow, y'all not going to talk about that? Right. Y'all not going to talk about this? You don't want to talk about it? Because I feel like that's a major life change, right? If your ideology or relationship with God changes, that comes into play in a marital situation. That definitely comes into play. Absolutely. Right? Because how are you covering each other if you don't have the same foundation? That's kind of my thoughts on it from the outside looking in.
Because when accompanies that, and when we're talking about just, the role of a husband, one of those things is a provider, but what ends up happening is the provision portion of it, I think mentally, for some people, boils down to just finances. Yeah.
It's so much more than that.
But it's so much more than that. Provider, even protector kind of goes both ways. An umbrella protects you from the rain, but it also protects you from the sun. Right. But even in that capacity with protection is, I'm going to protect you from what's in me. That's it. So, matter of fact, this about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, this is around Christmas. I was keeping something inside of me, and she asked a simple question, and boom, boom, boom. It was, you'd have thought it was the 4th of July for Christmas. All I asked was. And then, the good old Lord was, bruh.
Right. What you doing?
And then not that she did anything wrong, right? I had to apologize to her. However long it was that same day, if I'm not mistaken. Was it the same day?
No.
When was it?
It's the next day.
Okay.
It's because I refused to talk to you.
Oh, Lord. Well, that's real. That's real. It be like that sometimes.
It be like that sometimes. You gotta keep your mouth shut, because you might say something else to make it worse.
And so with to what I was just saying, I didn't. What made me feel bad is that I didn't protect her. I didn't protect her because I let it out. Yeah. And well, to that point, what happens sometimes when, in particular, men and are silent, that is protecting someone from
what it could be. Y'all know how y'all y'all know how y'all go like we know how we go.
Because and that's another difference. Women, y'all words, y'all can conjugate verbs.
Man, we're gonna tell you every little detail about it.
And use 10,000 words and syllables and all the rest of that stuff. That's where men, you got the machine gun. I'm coming with the shotgun. My 5 words is gonna blow you away. Boom. Boom. And won't feel bad about it.
Yeah, that's war, man.
But so in that moment, I didn't protect her. So looking at this protector, not just from shielding, but shielding from what's happening in me internally.
You know what? You raise a good point, and we are scripts, so I'm gonna stay here. You raise a good point, though. Being able to see what those roles are, and it's not specific to gender, at least not the way that I view it. It's not specific to gender. It's really that covering piece. Largely, what I talk about is how are you covering? What is it that you are doing that is allowing that protective factor or that peace factor for your mate? What are you doing, right? And so you mentioned the thing about protecting from self. One of the things that I see often and have lived, being a married person myself, is what happens when you hold it, to your point, when you hold things and you're not sharing. There's a time and place to hold things, but you can't let that linger and go so long that the other person is in the dark, so to speak. Like, and then it becomes like, but to your point, a powder cake. Like, now I'm blowing up at you. You didn't know, you didn't recognize, you didn't see. And that is a portion of covering. That is a portion of understanding each other and carrying the load with one another. And I think that's missing a lot in a lot of marriages too these days, especially. I'm gonna say millennials because I am a millennial, even though they call me a geriatric. I don't appreciate none of that. But being on the the higher end of the spectrum, I will say that over time in church, in family, I've seen marriage kind of morph. We get away from some of those like foundational things, right? Like pastors that I've grown up under, so you could see their marriage a certain way. My family see their marriage a certain way. Me being married, I do marriage different. That's kind of how I look at things. I'm like, well, that didn't work for y'all. I don't want to duplicate that. So we're going to talk. We're going to actually have good conversations about what's going on. Good job. Didn't talk. Your fault. You didn't talk. But yeah, so like coming up in the church, and you maybe your experience is similar. Coming up in the church, what did marriage look like to you all? Now y'all been married for a whole person, I'm gonna say at this point, right? But like, what did it look like? If y'all can remember that far back, what did it look like? What did y'all see before y'all decided to jump the brew?
That's a good question, because I was always told to get out of grown folks' business.
Right.
So that's a good question. And growing up, even in my family, we did not have any marriages. They're either shacking up or common law marriage. So I don't really recall any good examples of what a good marriage should look like beyond TV.
Gotcha.
And you know, it's TV. I just knew that when I got married, I told him, I said, even if you're mad at me, if you're trying to break up, you can sleep in the basement, because we in this for life. You can be mad at me, I'm gonna be mad at you, but it was just something that was in me. It was saying that once I make that commitment to God and Him, that's something I'm gonna keep. Yeah. There's days I might want to set them on fire, but I don't set them on fire. Fireproof. So it's just something that I just made up in my mind, and I know that the Lord has been able to help me sustain it. That I just did not, when I found the person He sent me, or the first person found me, I was going to be in it to the end. So it's just because I didn't know what a healthy marriage looked like, and it's just trial and error. It's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I mean, we almost 28 years in, and I'm still learning. I know I mess up all the time, but I'm still going to try it. You can't get rid of me. Go take a drive. Do whatever you want to do. But
she said, "Cool."
We here. I mean, listen, we've been together half our life.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Right.
There's nowhere for you to go.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
That's just my point on it. I haven't had anything to see per se in my family. It's just something that I had in my heart, and the Lord has been able to bless me to still keep my marriage. And although there's bumps in the road, He's saying, okay, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to let you, have a long marriage. So that's my point.
That was a really good one. Thank you. Again, I'm a double down. Okay. You be hitting me with the good ones. I like it. So not seeing it, right? Not having what looked like healthy relationship or healthy marriage. I feel like you were shaped by that in a positive way. I feel like that's why your commitment might be as strong as it is. Like just looking at that, I didn't see it, but because I didn't see it, I'm committed to seeing this through.
Absolutely.
We want to take this time out to thank you for joining us again this week. Thank you for listening. We are going to leave you with a couple of announcements. On April 13th of this year, we would like for you to join us at the Mosey Hotel for the Communication and Relationship Masterclass. You can register right on our website at renovatedsoulmft.com, where you can register at our upcoming events tab. We'll see you there.